All right, welcome, guys. I've had a little bit of trouble with the stream. It's like booted me off twice now. So just in advance, if it would happen again while we're live, just be patient. Hopefully, it'll be like it's been where it just like pops back on. Hopefully, I don't want to have to like redo a whole new stream and send a link to Michelle, because then that just wastes a whole bunch of time. But hopefully there won't be any problems. But me and Michelle, we are here for a girls night out. We have been studying women of the Bible, and for the last several weeks we have been studying Sarai and Hagar, and of course we also are studying Abraham as well. And so, Lord willing, that's what what we are going to continue studying today. I think we are ready for Genesis. Let me look. I think we're ready for Genesis 15, because we got through Genesis 14 last week. So we are ready for Genesis 15. And then that's going to kind of bring us back up to where we started with Sarah and Hagar. But then we backtracked a little bit just to make sure that we weren't missing some important facts dealing with Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. But let me go ahead and have Michelle just introduce herself. And did you want to maybe just give a recap of what we've been studying so far? I gave the recap last week.
Okay, I'll do my best to. Hi, I'm Michelle, and I have really enjoyed our study on Sarah. It's really interesting. It's a lot. We did back up into Genesis 12 to just go back and recap everything and go back through. We see Sarah and Abraham leaving their home and going out, trusting in God, believing in what he had planned for them, very faithful. And we see him just taking off and following what the Lord told them to do. And a lot of times I think we forget, back in this day, people were, they may have had, I know they had animals, they may have donkeys, things to ride, but still and yet, the trek that they made, it looks like the size of the state of California, all the way down, is it to Beersheba? And, for them to just go out like that on faith, it's really been interested. And we're getting ready to do 15, and the Lord's still coming at Abraham, telling him to fear not and follow him. And think about Sarah, in all this, following her husband. Her faith had to be truly, truly strong, to just listen to what her husband's saying, as she should have, and following him, when they really didn't even know where they were going. So it's been really interesting through the first few chapters that we've been studying.
Well, and then also, when we get back into Sarah and Hagar, when Hagar flees, Brother Ted did an excellent video, and I forgot to tell you about it because it like correlates to the study that that we did, Michelle, when we were talking about how how she fled from the face of Sarai,
Yeah,
and wandered in the wilderness. Well, Ted did a whole video on that called Another Woman in the Mist, and about how the Lord found her, and just everything surrounding what happened that might be something you would find interesting
I'll definitely watch it.
to watch that, because it gave me, because he looked at the maps to see, like, from where they were with, Sarah and Abraham, to where scripture says that she was found in the wilderness, and where she was heading. She had traveled quite a distance by the time the Lord speaks to her in the wilderness. And it was, and he was correlating, from John 8, the woman in the mist that was taken in adultery. And then, Hagar is another woman in the mist. And it was just really, really interesting. And I think anyone else, just go over to Scripture Unbroken's channel. You probably want to watch both videos, the woman in the mist, and then another woman in the mist. Okay. Because just a lot of eye-opening things dealing with Scripture and the Lord Jesus just being right there where these two women were at, and just how faithful the Lord is to never leave us or forsake us. But let's see.
I've got this. Let me see if I can.
Oh, okay.
And
he pulled it up on I think it was like the KJV dictionary, and you could put any location, and it'll like pinpoint it right on the map online. That was very interesting. And and what I was thinking about when I was listening to his video was, she walked on foot. Now maybe she had a donkey or something, but most times people walked on foot back then. And just think how many miles was that?
It was a ways.
It was.
Yeah, it would have been really hard. And we just don't realize, even the way things are right now, things are getting crazy, how lucky we actually are. Now, it tells us that Abraham and Sarah, they were wealthier people, because they had cattle and things like that. And but even still, could you imagine walking that far? Today,
it's hard for me to just walk around the block, guys. Okay,
So yeah. But it shows, them going into these, like when they went into Egypt and Sarah agreed to lie. I was thinking about that today, and it, Abraham and Sarah, as faithful and as loyal as they were, still messed up at times. Not just one time, but a few times. And I think that further shows us, what a lot of people have been talking about. I know there's several subjects come up this week, and I've just been trying to, study and try to find verses and things. And but they messed up too. Now, Abraham was righteous before God, and he was a faithful servant, but he still messed up. And so did Sarah. So, we're not perfect. They weren't perfect. And they were just as close to God as anybody could be, back in that day.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe more so with Abraham, because, God kept talking to him through burning bushes and such. And, he was extremely close to God. And you would think, oh, he's so righteous, he probably never made a mistake. Not.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah, he has, all the human flaws that we all deal with, in one form or another. And so, and that's why it's good to to study all the different people in the Bible, because I mean, I'm glad that the canon is closed. I would not want my life to be written down for
Yeah.
people, thousands of generations in the future to read about me. That would not be good.
No, me either. And I'd be, I would probably be a perfect example of a lot of things. And I'm glad, like you said, that the canon's closed. And, but we do have these examples. And Sarah is mentioned in the New Testament. And
Hmm.
that was something else that came up today. If the Lord took time to see fit for these women to be mentioned on over into the New Testament, we really need to pay close attention to their lives. Rahab, some of the ones, that are mentioned in the New Testament. We really need to take a close look at, because they have been mentioned in two testaments, the Old
Hmm.
and New. So,
Very true. All right. Well, we are starting in Genesis 15. So I'll go ahead and read the first few verses here. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if they be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And so, this is like the second, like maybe even more than the second time that God is talking to Abram about this covenant, this promise. And up to this point, that's all it is a promise. He has not seen this come to fruition. And this reminds me of the passage in the New Testament. And I never remember exactly how it goes. For if we hope for that which we do not see, you know which verse I'm talking about, Michelle?
yeah.
About it's like hope is on the things that you don't see,
See.
believing that it will come to pass. And this is Abram right here,
Yeah.
and God, tells him straight out that no, it's because Abram, and we can probably all relate. It's like Abram's just looking at just the logical conclusion of his surroundings and everything that's going on in his life, and he's like, okay, well, I don't have an heir, I don't have a son, but I do have I have this heir. It's a steward of his house, Eliezer, and he's like, basically, is it going to be Eliezer?
Yeah.
And the Lord's saying, nope, it's not going to be him. The one that's to come, that I'm going to promise you, that I promise you that's going to come forth, will come out of your own bowels, and that will be thine heir. And then we get the passage about, okay, now look into the heavens, and if you can number them, that's how your seed is going to be. And it's like, we can't, we can all look up into the night sky, no matter where we're at on the globe, and we just see just stars after stars after stars, and so basically God is saying, your descendants, your seed will not be numbered, and when we put this, in the overall plan of salvation, we are part of Abraham's seed when we have believed on Christ. We become partakers of that covenant, of that promise. And so, it's like we were part of the number of stars that were in the heavens, and so it's just fascinating, when you start to see the prophecies and all of these things start to be fulfilled. Are you there,
Yeah,
Michelle?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
here.
I'm going to take a
It's
break and let you talk for a minute.
um yeah, it's really interesting to see what, he goes through. And, you know, to me, in those first 5 verses, I'm glad you clarified what Eliezer was, because I didn't know and I meant to look it up today and I didn't. So, um, I'm glad that you did that. And, he's getting tired, and he's like, what? Lord, you promised me all this stuff, but nothing's happening, and that's the way we do sometimes. We get into a hurry wanting things to get fixed. We know the Lord's able and we know He's capable, but and I know He's going to fix things for His good. So, all right, Lord, what you doing? And we try to rush Him, and it, it's kind of funny to read this and then think about yourself. How would you be feeling if this was going on with you?
I
You
mean,
know,
how many years did Abraham end up waiting for Isaac to be born? Years upon years upon years.
yep,
And of course, in between the time of Genesis 15 and when Isaac is born, they get impatient and they take it upon themselves, and an Ishmael is born. And we've
yep,
talked about this before, how many of us, because of our own impatience with things that we feel that the Lord has promised to us, we're like thinking we're going to just help God along, like God's being too slow, and so we create our own Ishmaels in our own life, and usually it never works out
no,
for any good. I
no,
mean,
ever,
and sometimes children are born, when that happens. I mean, you may have Ishmaels that are not children, but what if you do have an Ishmael that is a child? Well, God
yeah,
still brings good out of children that are born, just like He gave Hagar the promise of a mighty nation that was going to come out of Ishmael.
yeah. I think even today, any little child is a blessing from above. The circumstances may have been not so great, just like we see here. Um, Somebody not waiting on the Lord, but they're still blessings. And um, we all make mistakes, and this is just another one of those examples of even the most righteous man at this time made mistakes, and that's just one of the big standout for me. So, when you look back and you say, um, like Sam was talking this week, there was a point in my life when I thought I had made too many mistakes. The Lord, I believed in the Lord. I believed in the Lord when I was really young. And there was a point in my life, well, the Lord sure is done with me because I have just messed up royally. And,
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that, because what I had been taught, had I been reading and studying like I should have been, these things may have came to light to me, but I wasn't. I was listening to a pastor and listening to what he had to say, studying my Sunday school lesson, going back to church, and just doing that, and not really taking it upon myself to dig deep into the Bible and start reading for
Well,
myself.
and a lot of times, like I talked about, oops, Michelle's got some bad weather. Hopefully she will be back with us. But and what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. Like I was talking about yesterday, in my Grace Believers Fellowship video, many of us have come from Lordship salvation backgrounds, and I've been there too, Michelle, where you just feel like God's not going to have any more for me to do. God's done with me. And, or you feel like maybe you're too old for God to use you, and, or you've messed up too much, and you go to wrong churches that, teach, works-based gospel, which is just a false gospel. And you just feel lower than dirt, and you feel like that you've messed up so bad that there's no good that can come out of your life. And that's why we really try to get across that, salvation is through faith alone in Christ alone. And it doesn't matter how old you are. We've got to.
Sarah was, when they went into Egypt, she was 60 something. And by the time she had Isaac, she was 90. So,
right. Moses was 80 when he was called to lead the children out of Egypt. Yeah. So you are never too old to be used by the Lord. As long as you got breath in your lungs, you are never too old. And Ted brought up the scripture that I couldn't think of. It's Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And this has been like a lifeline verse for me. Things that I've had to wait a really, really long time for me to see the fruition of that. And I mean, there's still things that, hope. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I mean, I'm not seeing it yet, but that faith is there.
Yeah. I have several things going on right now that I've been praying so hard about. And I ask the Lord, please give me strength to be patient with your will, because it's really hard. It really is hard. In our time,
and our time frame and the Lord's time frame never match. I want it now. I want it now, Lord. And the Lord's just like, he's not bound by time like we are.
And our world now moves so fast. It's like everything is a now. Nobody really has any patience anymore to just slow down anyway. So it's probably way worse now than it was back in this day, because, things seemed to be a little more slow back then. And, to me, it's like, I have gotten to where I do not like going anywhere. I don't know if the Lord is trying to prepare me for something, or if I cannot.
He's training you to bunker down.
I guess so, because I didn't mind it at all. I would get out and I'd go and maybe go do a little shopping, go see people, do things. And now I do not care to stay home all day. I mean, it does not bother me one bit. I like being at home. I've got plenty to do here, and it's just like, I could care less if I go anywhere or not. I really don't. I don't care. We've got some close friends that we enjoy going and seeing, and that's about the only time that I'm really excited to leave, is when we go over there. I'm just like, I don't shop. I'm not a shopper.
You do all your shopping online, don't you?
Most of it. Yeah, most of it. And I unless it's just something that I know that I'm not going to be able to order offline, that I really have to have, I'm like, look, I'm going to have to go look at this. I'm really quite content with staying at home. I do not have a problem with it whatsoever.
Well, you know what? It's funny. you know, I drive for a living, okay, and so I end up nagging my husband to take me on our motorcycle. And, he's reminded me a couple times now, well, if you're feeling stressed and you just want to get out and drive, he's like, you can always just go drive in your car. And I just kind of look at him with that like blank stare on my face. And I'm like, I drive for a living. The last thing I want to do is go drive. It's like for me, it's like I get on the back of the bike and I don't have to be the driver. I can just enjoy
Just
the
the
ride.
scenery. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
I know that
Oh,
we enjoy some things like camping and things like that. And I was thinking it would be good to start doing some of that stuff again. And, we still would enjoy it. We just can't do the physical part of it like we used to. And, maybe just go to a nice quiet. There are places that you can go. There's absolutely no internet service, no cell phone service, none of that. It's only about like an hour away. So that's my idea of getting away from everything. I just, you know, and we went, to this place before, and it's really enjoyable. It's peaceful, it's quiet, there's a river right there, and that's something that we just enjoy doing. So that might be something that I would be willing to get out of the house and go do, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like the older I get, one of the things is I don't deal well with stupidity and crazy people. And
maybe you need to define that.
People drive like idiots. You can't go out without trying, just about getting run over. And Merle says I drive really fast, so I'm not going crazy slow, and so we go out, and you can't just enjoy driving down the road without somebody almost running over you or bowing up, stopping in front of you, or almost running over you. And I'm like, you know what? I can't do it because the Lord gives me grace. Every day I have to pray for the Lord to give me a tame tongue and grace to be good to people. And I'm not lying, because I am very outspoken, and I'm bad to just, if it's running through my head, it comes right out my mouth.
You've talked about that before, that your kids kind of are like, that wasn't very nice.
Yeah, they're always saying, and I'll be like, okay, I shouldn't have said that, but I have to pray that Lord bridle my tongue. I pray about that all the time, because if I'm thinking it, I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Well, you were talking just a minute ago about stupidity, and I don't know if you said idiots, but I saw a meme not too long ago that said something about what are you talking about? It was I don't know about herd what is it? Herd immunity, but I can sure tell you about herd stupidity. And
yeah,
I'm just like, yep. I mean, that's just that's the whole world. And it feels like those, and I don't like to use the word woke, but those of us that know our Bible, we are truly the woke crowd here, because we know what's coming down the pike. We know what's going on. And it's just like, I look at all these people and I'm just like, really, you believe all the lies that are on TV, and this news and that news, and it's just amazing, what lies people will fall for.
Yeah. There was some of the people in the chat may have saw that this week. It was JFK to 9/11, and we had seen documentaries. That's a documentary that's on Rumble right now. And a friend shared it with me this week, and I hadn't got to watch all of it yet. But a lot of the stuff that it's showing, we've looked at it. The stuff has been in plain sight for years, and it's like nobody. I mean, people just don't want to pay facts and truth that's there. They don't want to pay it any attention. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
really?
we're just seen as conspiracy nuts.
And you ask someone, well, why do you not like, why do you like one candidate? You don't like the other one, with all the crazy stuff that, they just vote for the one because they don't like the other one.
Right.
To me, that's not, why would you vote for somebody if you don't agree with most of what they say? And maybe I don't like that person as a person, and maybe not agree with everything he says, but do you not actually look deep into what they stand for, what they believe in? I want to see what somebody's morals are. And yeah, I guess they could lie and say this, that, or the other. But if you look back kind of through somebody's past, that's going to show if they're being less than dishonest, or, less than honest, or whatever. And people just won't stop and take time to think about things. All this election stuff.
Well, and now, I mean, I haven't really been keeping up that much, but they tried to do this disclosure not long ago about the aliens are coming to, like this alien disclosure and stuff, and and of course, I don't buy into all of that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we near the end, I think it's a very good probability that will play a part in things, because like as me and Michelle, and I don't mean to get us sidetracked. I'm sorry, guys. Me and Michelle, before we went live, we were talking about the locusts that are going to come up out of the bottomless pit, and I'm like, you want to talk about an alien invasion? That's going to be your alien invasion for the unbelievers that are on the earth.
That's what they're going to think.
That's
they're not going to.
I mean, it, and any believers that are on the earth, because regardless of where you stand with the resurrection, whether you're pre, mid, or post trib, there will be believers there, and we're not going to be touched by them things. Those things will not be able to touch us. They're only going to go after the unbelievers, and that's what's going to be kind of something kind of weird to. I mean, I think it's going to be frightening, but if you're just thinking, aliens are coming, well, yeah, I mean, these sci-fi creators and all of that, they can do their best job to try to, draw up and create what they think aliens look like. But that ain't going to be nothing compared to what's coming up out of the bottomless pit, man. That's going to be nothing.
I believe that it's going to be really, really bad because,
when you talk about men's hearts failing for fear, you talk about, I mean, that's like people dropping dead from heart attacks is what that's saying.
Yeah, that's, and I believe, I know that there's a lot of our views different on post and pre-trib, But my personal belief is, everything's portrayed to be sci-fi, these days with all the sci-fi movies and stuff like that. But when the sky lights up and it looks like lightning from the east to the west, and I picture, like, when you're sitting in a movie theater and the picture comes on and you see Jesus coming, it's going to be lit up. Everybody's going to know what's going on. And some of the people that's been trying to disprove the King James Bible this whole time and have read it and know what it says, they're going to be like, oh crap.
Oh yeah, and when Jesus does return, it's going to be supernatural, because the flat earthers try to come in and say, well, how can Jesus be seen by everyone on a globe? And I'm like, you know what? It's going to be supernatural. Jesus is Jesus. Everyone will see him. It doesn't matter which side of the globe you're on. You're going to see him when he appears. Everyone's going to see him. I'm sorry. I do not believe it's going to be any kind of a secret thing. Everyone's going to see him, and I believe that's when the catching away happens. But until then, we are to occupy. We are to
and
preach
like we
the
said,
gospel.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it doesn't really matter when you think that he's coming. I think it just matters that you believe, that he is coming, and as long as you've got that down pat and you believe in Jesus and what the Bible says about him, we're good. And the rest of it is just learning and trying to do what he says. And that's my thought. I try to read my Bible. I try to stay in the will of God and do what he says. I mess up all the time. I mess up daily, but I get up every morning with the intentions of doing my very best to please God that day. And I may fail. I may be wrong on something, but I am somebody that I will read, and I'm not going to get mad if Wendy says, "Hey, Michelle, excuse me, I think you're wrong on that." I'm going to say, okay, I'll definitely study it. And I will. I'll go and I'll study, and I don't mind if Wendy gives me study topics. I don't mind it at all. I'll go study, and I'll try to, if I still don't think I'm wrong, I'm gonna say, okay, just look at this, without getting mad or pitching a fit or anything like that. Look at this. This is why I'm thinking this. I'm right on this, and I think that's the way we should do. Like we're studying Sarah. I think we need to study and get everything we can out of these words that the Lord's gave us to study. And are things going to go back to where we may be living like Sarah and Abraham for a while? Is it going to get that bad that we're going to have to fight in wars? And it's possible. We don't know. We know.
I think Jesus giving the warning to the disciples, when you see the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place, let the reader understand, you don't go back for your cloak. You don't go back for your stuff. You hit the hills, basically. And so that there.
Are we ready? Are we ready for that?
Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Because I think that is as close to Jesus telling us that you're going to be living on the run as the Bible can say. We're going to be living on the run, or if it's not our generation, if we're already with the Lord, in glory, because, we've died for whatever reason, there is some future generation coming. It could be our children's generation. It could be our grandchildren's generation. But some generation to come is going to live through this.
And
How
they're
are
not
we
listening.
how are we preparing our future generations?
Yeah,
You
and
know,
they're not listening.
nope.
It's worse than I've ever seen it. They're not listening.
I mean, I don't even know if I could survive on the run. You know, I mean, I
No.
rely so heavily, like, on my husband. You know, it's just like, yeah, and that's a rebuke to myself, honestly. You know, it's like, yeah, there's things that I've done to prepare. You know, you get out of debt and you store up a little bit of food and stuff. But there's so much more that I could be doing, because
Yeah.
you know, even if we're not the generation that's going to see the Lord's return, you know, being physically alive, there's other things that could be coming down the pike. You know, we could still be here to see the world get worse and worse and worse, where it may come to the point where you as an individual believer, you know, for you or your family, maybe you make the decision that you have to just not have any internet, have no way of people tracking you, you know, just try to get off the grid as much as possible. Are you prepared? Do you know the things that need to be done? Because I can see a little bit about how, you know, at least our country is heading. I can see how, you know, Canada is heading, and like Australia is heading. You know, it's better to be a little bit prepared and have some kind of a game plan, because you just don't know.
Yeah. Because, you know, you think about, even as at the age that we are, I can remember when gas was less than $1 a gallon. And I can remember how fast at times it's jumped up. And I saw I think it was a meme today too, that it was showing diesel at like $7 a gallon, and regular gas at 5 something. And is that possible in the way our economy and the people that's in charge? Could that be something that could be a very big reality for us? Yes, I believe so.
Gas already in California. I yesterday, when I put gas in my car, when I filled up, it was $4.09 a gallon. That's in California.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite that here. It's I'm trying to think. See, you can tell
Ted says buy a horse. Buy a horse.
We're gonna have to. Right. I had a friend. I've got another friend on Facebook that lives in Wyoming, and he always sends pictures of, I think people there still ride horses like regular. I mean, way more than here or California probably. But that's going to be maybe a reality for some people, you know. And thank the Lord, I do know how to ride one. I don't know if I could get up on one anymore, but I would love to. So, I mean, we're going to have to find alternate ways of doing things. And you say something to people like, all the Biden supporters I know, they're not totally ignorant, because as soon as he got elected, they were driving really big, nice cars and stuff. And the next thing I knew, they were driving little Volkswagens and little teeny tiny cars, you know, so they knew the dang gas was fixing to go sky high.
Yeah, I know. My husband just told me this morning about a really funny meme that he saw. You know, the soup that's like the alphabet soup.
Yeah.
And he said the meme said something to the effect of, and it showed, you know, the alphabet soup with all the letters and everything. It said Biden has just made a statement. And I thought, oh, that is so funny. That is so funny. Because, you know, if you try to listen to Biden, you can't hardly understand him. And sometimes you just scratch your head like, why did he say that? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
I can't watch him. I just can't do it. I have tried just to see like the first few speeches that he did, and I'm like, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe that he's there. And I can't, you know, America's always been a strong force, with people. And I think we look the weakest that we've ever been, ever
Oh,
looked.
and they're trying to get the United Nations in to come in, something about for something about humanity or something like that, and they want the United Nations to look at the United States like we're not being humanitarian enough or something like that. And I'm just like, because of all this critical race theory and all
Yeah.
of that going on.
Yeah, that's insane. I I pray so hard. We have a granddaughter that will be starting school. I don't know if she'll be going this year or next. Um, but I'm praying so hard my kids decide to homeschool her. If you're going to ever, if you're even going to be allowed to do that anymore. But things are just so bad, and it's dangerous to go to school because of many different reasons.
Well, yeah, there's the sex ed that they do, just younger and younger all the time. So I don't remember which state it was, but some, like, I don't know if it was junior high or high school, the kids are getting the jab, and the parents don't even have to be notified. And I know, at least, when Johnny was still in high school, I would get notices all the time about, that they've got their clinic there. You can come in, the whole family can come in and get their jab, and they still required parent authorization, but California is like one of those states. They're the first one to get rid of, things that pertain to, parent permission and stuff like that. But
Well, and see, like here they require the kids to get school shots.
Yeah, ours does too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they could probably sneak something like that in, and you wouldn't even know the difference.
Right.
I'm not keen on that either.
Mm-mm.
I don't. Everybody says, well, the vaxxed videos and things, those people have worked really hard to make people aware of these vaccines. And if you can't watch something objectively, and that's where the I can't stand stupidity stuff comes in. If you
Right.
can see,
We've got herd stupidity, don't we, sis?
yeah, what that stuff's doing to our kids, and I talked to one lady, and she said, well, I would rather have a vaccine damaged child than a dead child. And I thought about that for a long time. And of course, I don't want anything to happen to anyone's child. But a child's immune system, their first year, is developing. And God gave us a mighty, mighty immune system. It's so complex. And that's the time that they're pumping all these shots into our babies, that their little immune system is developing and getting introduced to stuff and learning how to fight it off. And it's killing them. It's killing their little immune system.
Or it's causing autism or ADHD and all these other problems. And, as far as, COVID goes, or maybe I shouldn't have said the C word, the chance that you're going to get it and die is just like slim, slim, slim. I'd rather, for myself, or even for my children, I would rather risk getting it, knowing how God created my immune system, than to take the jab and risk dying or be injured. I have more of a likelihood of being injured by the jab than I do by the actual virus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my thoughts too. And I know people that's taken it.
Oh, I do too. I do too.
And in my family, the older people that's taken it is not doing well.
Right.
They're not. And is it attributed to that? Well, from what I'm hearing from all these doctors and things like that, it very well could be. So, and one of the people, their health was bad already. And they watched so much news that they could not wait to get that. They couldn't wait because they were scared to death. And now I think their health is worse than it was before.
Right. And you can't undo it. It's not like with the mask, at least you can take the mask off. I still have to wear it, when I'm taking passengers around. The minute they get out of my car, off the mask goes. Once you inject that into your body, you cannot take it out. It's there permanently.
There was some of the vaccines, the normal vaccines that people get. A lot of times you can kind of counteract with your vitamin C's and your, if it's something that you had to take, like, I think I saw the health ranger guy talking about it one time, and there are some detox steps that you can take, but this one has nothing.
Right.
Oh, I know what it was. There was actually a mother that cured her son from autism, and she had said that he had acquired autism after his shots, and she actually did some herbal stuff, vitamins and regimens of different things with the help of a natural, what do they call that? It's not an herbalist, but it's a doctor that practices natural medicine, had helped her detox her son, and he was okay. And so, but this thing, I don't think there would ever be a chance of anything like that either, from what I've seen.
Nutritionist?
Yeah.
Nutritionist. Okay.
I think it was a doctor that they practice natural medicine along with, and so we just have to, I don't know what the answer is. I just worry, that things are going to get really bad. And yeah, Curtis, you should stand your ground. We're going to have to. Christianity is our beliefs, our way that we live as a Christian. Those things are being threatened. And are we just going to sit back and do nothing?
Well, the majority of the ones who are not getting the jab, I mean, now there are some, unbelievers that have enough common sense that they're, refusing the jab. But a lot of us are the evangelicals, those in the grace community. But even then, I've got, some brothers and sisters that like Curtis, they're being pressured by their job. And, like Ted was saying earlier, we have to show a lot of grace with babes in Christ. If we come across, a brother or sister, on social media that shares, that they, had to break down because of their job and get the jab, don't go on the attack, guys. You can stand your ground, but show grace to your brothers and sisters, because I haven't talked to her. I forgot to ask her, but we've got a sister in the Lord that we all know. I won't name her, but she may have to get the jab in order to keep her job. And, we just have, if you have to end up getting it, or if you make the decision to get it, that's between you and the Lord. You haven't lost your salvation. It's not the mark of the beast. We still love you. I mean, I would love to see you guys, stand your ground. But if the rubber meets the road for me, I mean, I would like to think that I'm going to stand my ground and I just won't have a job. That's where my faith is going to have to really come in. God's going to have to hold me up and have income come in somehow, some way. So far it has, they're not making us with Uber and Lyft, but we just don't know what's coming down the road. That's why we keep our eyes focused on Christ.
Yeah. Matt just said, Curtis was talking about his job, and Matt just said his doctor refuses. And I just got a notification and a note that said some people's getting hits here on YouTube because of for saying jab now. So and there's so many doctors. The one lady doctor that I listen to all the time is, I think her main office is in, I want to say Ohio, but I'm not sure.
Are you talking about Tenpenny?
Yeah. And she's been a doctor for many, 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 many years. And if you say anything about her, everybody's just like, well, she must not be a real doctor, because she does YouTube videos and stuff, because she's trying to make people aware. And she's a doctor of 30 years or more. And yes, I'm gonna listen to her. I went to her website and looked up her stuff. She's got so much information. And, how much more doctor and experience does one need to understand that there is a problem with these things?
Okay, well, we won't use the J word anymore. We'll say poke. It's like we'll have to come up with. I'm like, I'm not going to get poked. I'm just nope.
But we are going to have to pray, and we're going to have to pray for each other that we can be strong, because it's going to be hard. And they're talking about that you can't even get food, and you're not going to be able to do this, and you're not going to be able to do that. And honestly, for some, it's going to be easier than others.
Well, in California, they're wanting to bring the mask back because of the DV.
Yeah, I saw that today. And they're wanting to here too.
Now, so far, it's not mandatory yet. I mean, I had to do a little bit of shopping today. I went in without my mask on, and now it's like no big deal. But when we were able to, and of course, I identify as vaccinated. Nobody's asked me that, but because this whole thing is I identify as this or I identify as that. And so it's like, I figure if anybody's going to ask me, I'm going to say I identify as vaccinated. But at first it was really hard for me because I felt like I was going in without any clothes on. It felt like really weird because I had been conditioned to wear the mask just all the time. I felt so uncomfortable when I first went into the store. Now it's like back pre-COVID, it's just like big whooping deal. I go in that without the mask, but if they're going to force us again, and what good is that going to do? I mean, now they're wanting to give, a third or fourth poke, and it's just like, it's just a whole bunch of hoopla.
Yeah. Well, I can't breathe in one. I honestly can't. And maybe as I've gotten older, some medical issues. But I've been claustrophobic ever since I was a little kid. And to cover my face up, is terrible for me. So, and I think during this time is when I have just gotten to where I'm really okay with staying home because I don't care to go out and put a mask on and do all this stuff. Um, Now I've went out some and went in stores without it because I really can't breathe with one on, and it's miserable for me. And I probably could get a medical note or whatever from my doctor, but I shouldn't have to. That's my whole thing. So
I know.
it's going to be hard, and that's what I was talking about earlier. We don't know what we're going to face. We have to pray and pray for strength for each other, and that we'll be able to deal with things the way the Lord wants us to, no matter what we face. We kind of got off today, and I honestly think we stopped at verse 6 last week
Did we?
in 15 because I've got it marked right here. So,
Well, we'll have to. I guess, guys, we can just say this week we just kind of took a break and we just talked about current events. We talked about aliens. We just talked about a whole bunch of different things. But we were talking about prepper stuff too. My husband and I we've gone camping twice now. I mean, the full camping thing. Where we have our tent and just everything, and that's not a bad idea. I mean, yeah, at some point we would like to have, an RV because that may end up being our home if things go as where I think it's going, if it happens in my lifetime. But, if you guys haven't gone camping in a while or something, and go camping, just for the enjoyment, but just to understand what's going to be involved, what you would need to do, get your thinking caps on, because you may need to do that. And as long as you have a way to take care of yourselves, you may have to live out in the wild. You just don't know.
What's your family going to need as far as if there's no power, if there's no water, if there's no whatever? Those are things that we really do need to practice to see, because, I don't think that everybody's truly completely ready with every single little thing that they need. So, and you just need to practice and see what you need, and kind of look at yourself and say, okay, what does my family need? We're going back to the Proverbs 31 woman here. She would have been looking ahead and maybe seeing what's coming, how things are going. I think she would have been saying, okay, let me make me a list, because I've got, things is not going so great. I need to figure out what to do to keep my family and the things that they need, even despite all this stuff. So, the lessons, like I say, with the women of the Bible, they dealt with some crazy mess. And, Queen Esther, could you imagine being her?
Oh yeah, knowing what was going to happen a year from now. You talk about preparing. That would have just
Yeah, and I mean, there's really good examples all through the Bible, and we need to look, because I think the Lord gave us every answer we need right here. It's here somewhere, and we need to look for it and see what He wants us to do, because I question everything. I guess the Lord gets tired of hearing me question Him, ask Him so many questions. I'm like, Lord, show me this. Lord, show me that. And that's a prayer that I pray to Him 2 or 3 times a day sometimes. Lord, show me how to deal with this. And a lot of times I'll open my Bible and a verse will pop in my head, and I read it, and I'm like, "Thank you, Lord." And that's happened to me more than I can count, because I was looking for answers, and when I'm upset or something's going on, and I'm looking for an answer, I'm like, I'm not going to say that the FBI or none of that, but I'm definitely on a mission, and I'm going to find my answer. And we really need to see, and that's a great idea. Go camping, figure out how your kids, your husband, wife are going to act when you're out with no power, no cell phones. And I
Because
say,
you make a list of the things that you need for camping, but think in the back of your mind, if you have to stay longer, what do
yep,
you need? Your generator, batteries, just all these things, and just see. And it's like, if we are the last generation that will be alive to see all these things, obviously there's going to be things that none of us are prepared for. But when it happens, for whatever generation that this will happen to, the Lord will lead. You know,
yeah,
you will just know, you will be brought to Scripture. I also believe, people will be brought into your life, that they will have things that you need, or they will have information that you need. And
yep,
that's how God works. He really does. He sends people into your life at just the right moment.
yeah,
And do all you can now to, be aware of your surroundings, and learn what you can. But ultimately, we just have to keep our faith and trust in the Lord.
yeah. And let me
Well,
just,
I wanted to
I
say, yeah, we've got several people in the chat.
thank you everybody for joining. It's good to see some conversation going on in the chat and people talking, because we need this time to get together with each other. I think it's awesome, and I miss the Bible studies and things um, that we used to do, and maybe we can get some more together through the week, because it helps us. It truly does. It's encouragement. Um, I want to ask for prayers for a Bible study, that a little one that we're trying to do here, um, that the Lord just put his hand on that study and give us strength to make that thing happen every single week. Um,
Is
and
this with the friend that you were telling me about, your neighbor?
yeah, and one of our really good friends, we're trying to do a Bible study, and it seems like the devil fights you on it and bites you on it, and we both need that study, and I just pray that that can happen. Just help me pray that the Lord will give us strength to get together, and it's maybe it'll grow. Maybe there will be several join us and study here through the week. I would love that, because I just think it's important, and the fellowship's important, just like right here, because it gives us the fresh breath that we need to continue on. Um, and we do need encouragement from time to time. We all do. I don't care if you're big and bad and say, I don't need nobody to help me. I hear that so much. Yes, you do, big boy. Yes, you do. Um,
Well,
we all,
and that's why we've been I've been scheduling these 1 week in advance. And so after I'm done visiting with Michelle, after I end the stream, I will be scheduling for next Wednesday, which will be the 28th, 1 p.m. So then that way you guys know a week in advance, and it's up on my channel. You can go set your notifications, and that way you can plan to be here. And this seems to be working out, because we've had the most people in here today than we've had in a long time,
time, yeah.
honestly.
And you've
It's great to see Curtis. I haven't seen Curtis in a long time, and I know it looks like by reading his chat, that he's just been busy with the new job, and it's nice to see Matt. I don't always get to see him. And of course, brother Ted's here and Merle's here. And so this has been nice because this is church for me, guys. This is church for me.
Yeah, I'm even glad to see Merle in the chat. So
and that just shows that our brothers of the Lord don't find us too boring, that they can suffer through, us women yakking, about various things. We just kind of went all over the place today, but next week we will right. Next week we will be back to Genesis 15 and we'll continue on. And then of course, since all of you are here, I need to remind you, coming up in a few weeks, August 11th, Lorraine's Music Hour, I'm going to be sharing my brand new song, Kiss the Door of Heaven, the Judas song. My children have now, almost all of my children have now heard the song behind the scenes, and they give their thumbs up to it. And that's like really big. If my kids approve of any new music, that's like an indicator that I've done a good job. But I'm going to be doing that. That is also scheduled here on my channel. You can go set your reminder, August 11th, 4 p.m. Now that is on a Wednesday. Depending on if I get things done in time, I'll be doing Girls Night Out with Michelle, but I won't schedule it for that week. It'll be just kind of a last minute thing. If I'm able to, me and Michelle will come on. Otherwise, look for the music hour at 4 p.m. my time, Pacific Standard Time, because that's when I'm going to be playing you guys the brand new song.
And you may have to go in like that week and just click your notifications on and off if we do decide to do one, so it'll come up in your notifications. Because I was looking for something today, and when I went to the YouTube page, that I had notifications click and the bell and everything, and I still wasn't getting notifications. So I had to turn it on, turn it back off, or turn it off and turn it back on. And then I got the next notification that he sent out. It was Sunday when I was waiting on the pastor that I have been listening to. I didn't get his notification this past Sunday. So.
Well, and I think Ted has talked about in the past that I'm like shadow banned. And so, because he and I, we've checked, and it's like, some of you aren't getting your notifications. Like when I upload just like a regular video, it's like you're not getting the notification. And I think it was like last week or maybe the week before, me and Michelle, we were almost done with our girls' night out, and Matt comes in, and we're just like, we're almost done. We're like wrapping up, saying goodbye, and he had just gotten the notice. And so, like Michelle said, maybe even if you have to like unsub me and then sub me back and then click the notification bell, maybe just go through that extra step just to make sure you guys are getting the notifications. It's like, I don't know what else to do to circumvent, the YouTube garbage that they're doing.
I don't think there's nothing that we can do. It's getting worse and worse. Like your the technical stuff that was going on earlier, I don't think it had anything to do with you. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it
was not aliens.
Ted's over here because we're talking about aliens. And that's just because I'm watching a series. I shouldn't tell you guys this, but I'm watching a series based on H.G. Wells's book War of the Worlds. And so there's like this made-for-TV series, about the aliens and stuff. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, Them locusts that are going to come up out of that bottomless pit, the whole world's going to think them are aliens. And no, they're not going to be aliens from other planets. They're going to be demons is what them things are.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where my mind's been today. But anyways, guys, probably here in about 30 minutes, you should see the new stream for next Wednesday on here. And then so we will have, let's see, the 28th, I should be here on the 4th, and then the 11th will be last minute. We'll just go live if I'm able to do that, but my music hour is already set for the 11th. So 2 more weeks of scheduled girls night out, and then we'll just kind of have to play her by ear on the 11th. So any closing thoughts, sis?
No, just hello to everybody. I'm glad that y'all came this week and please come and provide your information and let us know stuff, whether you agree, you don't agree. Because, I mean, I like talking about stuff, and as things get worse and worse for us, we need this fellowship, the encouragement of Christians getting together and talking and learning, and I'm thankful for it. I'm very thankful.
Well, and it definitely, cheers my day up, to see you guys in here, talking with us and talking with each other. It makes me feel like I'm in like a real Bible study. I'm not with you guys face to face, but I can talk to you guys in real time. And this is great. Like I said earlier, this is my church, and this is where we can grow together, in love and grace, and, show love to each other, and just be an encouragement to each other.
And Merle said, praise Jesus. Exactly. We need to praise Jesus every day, because he blesses us so much. And, I pray for Ted needs to do something. There's talking about the coffee prices over there in Brazil, causing our coffee to go up. Ted, see if you can't do something about that. I can about do without food, but
I can't do without my coffee either, Ted. I don't know where Dutch Brother, has their coffee beans grown, but if it's in Brazil, we're going to leave it up to you. You take care of make sure we don't have a coffee shortage. All right, guys, we love you. We'll see you next week. And hang on with me, Michelle. I'll be able to talk with you here in just a few minutes. All right, to everyone else, God bless. And remember, keep your eyes focused on Jesus Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by him. All right, you guys, take care. We'll see you next week.